I'm so glad we got to squeeze this in because I know Raf very well. I talk to Raf almost every day, and I know all the work that went into this show. And I wanted to start with Cabot. You have such a long career working with Bill Lawrence.
hmm
How did this come up? Was there whispers of it long ago, and then it came to be, or was it quick? Was it quick?
it was a little bit quick for me. I think it had been gestating for a little bit at Doozer because to put a show together like this doesn't happen overnight. I mean, with talent like this,
Yeah.
and I think everything kind of changed for Bill after Ted Lasso. He became this voice that uh, was known for you know, taking you from a laugh out loud comedic moment, turning on a dime, and suddenly you're crying.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be resonating with a bigger audience. And so I think he was, people were coming to him saying, "Hey, uh, Steve Carell's got a is looking for something like this and would love to work with you." And I think Bill had a lot more offers coming in, and so it turns out that both he and Matt Tarsis, who I know from Scrubs, we went back to early Scrubs days. They were looking to develop a story about a father-daughter relationship. They both have daughters, I think about, almost college age. And and so they really wanted to explore that dynamic between, the father and the daughter and everything that they've been going through personally. And so this concept was hatched and Bill came to me maybe 6 or 8 months, I guess, before they went into pre-production.
Mm.
So I had a little time to think about it, but we didn't have a director, we didn't have a script. It was all very early stages. But we're in touch frequently because I was working with him on Shrinking at the time.
Right.
So I would see him in meetings and, it would come up in conversation. But it wasn't until the script finally landed and then it was announced that Steve was going to do the show, Steve Carell, um, that it really started to, become real for me.
In
And
LA.
in LA,
In
yes.
LA.
No, which is remarkable. Yeah, his company Doozer, well, to go way back, Bill and I met on Spin City in the 90s in New York. Um, we were both hired by Michael J. Fox and Gary Goldberg. And so we were put together in that show. We did, I think, over 120 episodes in 4 years.
I was just looking at that. I was like, wow, you've had some long, great runs. I'm like,
Yes. Yes, no, it's true. And I've had periods in between those runs where, you work really, really hard on something and it never sees the light of day. So,
yeah.
it's did pilots for a bunch of years, many with Bill, but I've worked with other creators, other showrunners, and other companies in the meantime, um, but there's something about Bill's style of storytelling, um,
I-
that I really gravitate towards.
Is there something, having worked with him for so long, and we all know that we work with people and they become like friends and family. Is there something oh, Bill's really this show really needs this, and he's gonna love that? Like, is there a certain thing that he gravitates towards that
Well, I think,
desire?
even though we're in the comedy world, he gravitates toward authenticity.
Hmm.
Um, for example, he hates backdrops because they're fake. So I always try to create three-dimensional environments outside of the windows.
Yeah.
I just did something on Shrinking where we created a forced perspective
Ooh.
house, that's only about a foot deep, but it has layers to it, and you look
That's
at it, and the eye just completely fools the brain. It's an old theatrical trick from my theatrical days, but in terms of what Bill likes in terms of his storytelling, it's authentic relationships, connections between people, finding the comedy in real moments that, are important to people's lives.
Yeah. You guys certainly had many builds on this.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. How many stages did you guys have?
Three,
Great.
Three stages.
three
Mhm.
stages, and the back lot at Warner Brothers, and then we had a lot of locations as well at Occidental, USC, and then we went to Stockton in Northern California for some exteriors as well.
Yeah, your exterior college is fantastic, I must say, for East Coast. It's really great.
I think Cabot can tell you all about that, the
Yeah.
scouting of that.
Yeah, no, University of the Pacific was kind of we thought an undiscovered gem. It had actually been shot quite a lot in the 1940s and 50s
Hmm,
as a location. Um, Hollywood productions would go up and shoot mostly feature films there.
I think I have
Um,
the end.
and the idea was that Bill really wanted to shoot this on the East Coast. We were going to, you know, the the prototype for the campus for Ludlow was Williams College, which is where Matt Tarsus went to school. His father, Jay Tarsus, who's a celebrated writer and showrunner, also went to Williams. Um, so they have some family history there. And then Bill Lawrence's family founded Sarah Lawrence College in New York.
Never
Um,
heard of it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's so cool.
his grandmother or great grandmother was Sarah Lawrence.
Mm.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so we did a lot of our research focused on Williams, Sarah Lawrence, neo-Gothic architecture. Um, but really, at the heart of this story, this is really about kind of this multi-intergenerational transitional moment that colleges and higher education in general are going through right now. It's a collision of woke culture with MAGA, and so even though this is a father-daughter story, it's really a vehicle to study all those dynamics
Right.
that are going on in education right now and in the society at large. And so the design of our sets was really a metaphor for that struggle. You look at the Elizabeth Stoddard Student Center, which is kind of the heart of our our campus on stage. Um,
How tall is that set? This one, right?
Yeah.
it, it, it goes right up to the perms.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great. That is great.
What was it, Raf? Like 38 feet or 36 feet or something?
Yeah, that was right up there. I remember when we started the project and Cabot had a SketchUp model of this sort of conceptually of the whole thing. And we kind of had the whole thing. And then when we came to the student lounge, the top was kind of open and there was kind of an idea of what we were going to do out there. But, we were like, we really want to get this, establish this as a great space. So we really developed all that then. But yeah, it was up there. We had some fantastic rigging grips
Hmm.
that like really, took this on and put it together up there. But everyone was just like floored when they walked in there for the very first time when we shot there for the first time.
Yeah,
And
when you go high, people get in awe. I
yeah,
always feel like that. The higher you go, people are like, "Whoa, this I might not bring food onto this set." Like,
But
um,
this set really exemplifies the metaphor, the visual metaphor that we were looking for.
hmm
There's kind of a famous line in the show where John C. McGinley's character Walt, who's the president of the college, he's you know flabbergasted by this new building that they've added, and he says, "Oh, they took a beautiful neo-Gothic building and slapped a greenhouse on it." And so that just kind of typifies, the struggle and the mashup of ideologies and
right.
everything that we were after. And then, Christopher Carlson, our set decorator, and Sue and their whole team just brought all these sets to life so beautifully. I mean, John Kreisel, who's our pilot director, he did the first two, and I think he did a couple towards the end. Um, he really wanted to show layers, like the history of this place through layers of conduit and, you
Hmm.
know, lighting fixtures and layers on top of layers. And so if you look around, you'll see, there's air conditioners poking out of things that shouldn't be there and things
Right.
like that. And
Those
so,
old buildings always had like weird things. You're like, why did they do that? Oh, then somebody covered it up and then they discovered it. And then
mhm.
you have 10 coats of paint on it.
Hmm.
Sue, being the buyer, I know your struggle of finding quantity and most of everything. How was it in ordering and finding sort of educational furniture for this type of room, really?
Well, we had three buyers, Paige, Augustine, and Rebecca Keeling, and
Mm.
um, a lot of purchasing. You have to purchase when you've got these kind of quantities. And just to talk about the lights, those lights that are hanging were designed by Cabot. We had a different iteration of potato chip shaped, trying to really make it happen. But these, I think, worked out best. Um, but just, in quantities, and the sets are, when you walk through like the main hall of the university and you see the ceiling
Yeah.
and the lecture halls and the seating and all of that, and having time to actually get it, source it and get it, and a lot of resources were used, definitely, to
I
purchase for the
Yeah,
lecture halls and that student lounge.
yeah. I love these lights. I've used them. I love those lights. But you have to use, I mean, the scale of of these sets, I mean, your hallways alone are huge. So the
Yeah.
scale of everything that you get and really matters that it fits in. It's hard.
I mean, look at that. Look what
That's
these,
that
what
shot
you
is
drew
amazing.
and the concepts. Like,
These
I'm always
Gothic
blown
hallways.
away.
Yeah.
But this was really spectacular because even when you're walking through it, it felt real.
Well, I also have to give I mean, your DPs, I mean, it's very important something like this being lit correctly so that it looks like, real sunlight and shadows and getting the depth and everything. So,
Yeah,
the
Blake
lighting.
McClure did a great job. He employed a brand new Blackmagic camera system.
Hmm.
I think we were the first to use it, and it wasn't completely teched out, meaning the depth of field situation was still not resolved. And so, uh, if you watch dailies or even on the DIT monitors, there was always this black halo around the image because the
Hmm.
software couldn't extrapolate or communicate with the lenses correctly. And but what you end up seeing is a very kind of cinematic, um, old school kind of feature film look where, like, even in a two shot, the second person in the conversation is somewhat out of focus, which is very rare.
Wow.
Like the depth of field drops off very, very quickly.
Wow.
In a shot like this, they're focused for the Steve and Walt walking there, but it was a very unique look for television, and I
It
think
is
everybody's kind of blown away by it, including HBO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is very cinematic looking and it's funny you say that because I was going to ask there's a lot of blacks, like
Hmm.
darkness. There's which is great. Like, and I feel like you only get that with like some shows, but not usually like a half-hour dramedy comedy. You know what I mean? It's great. It leans a lot towards the storytelling.
Yeah, there were a couple films that were kind of touchstones for us. The Holdovers was, Alexander Payne's The
Mm.
Holdovers was kind of a North Star for us. And then there was Nobody's Fool, um, which was a Paul Newman film from
Oh
the
yeah.
early 90s, I think. And then The Wonder Boys.
Oh yeah.
And
Good one.
and those two films were mostly about relationships, but the vibe, the look, the aesthetic of The Holdovers is really what we were going for.
Hmm.
Wonderful. Did you the steam room that they're constantly in obviously is a custom build because you get the camera in there and everything. How many of these did you build? Are there, is there
Uh,
just
we
one?
we built I think we had three originally, and then we made two of them into one, I believe. So we had an exterior one that was, I think it was about 6 feet, was it, Cabot? Something like that, 6 feet diameter, and then we
Yes.
had the bigger, the one that the interior one was 8 feet. And then we got the two and we kind of put them together so we could put camera ports in it.
Mm.
It all broke apart, all that. The doors, we cut this window into it to make it bigger. Some of the shots you see from interior looking out is like on the soundstage, and we replicated the location with the greens and everything and the lighting, and it really, it was very believable. Like we really sold it well. I think we had a fantastic crew of greens guys,
Mm.
construction, painters, everybody, set deck, props, everybody was really integral to this, making this all, bringing it home.
Yeah, Greens had a big job here because
Yes.
Yeah.
your fall, I mean your Christmas at the end, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and back east, it's snowing. It's a that finale with the snow makes you want to like jump into a Christmas card. It's like it's
Well, you'd be
beautiful.
you'd be jumping into it in Burbank if you did.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah. It,
I'll
it, it,
take
wa-
it.
it was great.
I'll take it.
now,
Yeah,
as our producer David Hyman says, we fooled him again.
yeah.
No.
Um, because everybody who's watched the show, they just can't believe it that we shot it, in the San Fernando Valley in the summer as New England in the fall.
Yeah.
It's
No, it looks great. It's
It,
it's
it's a
great.
Yeah, it's a real testament to the art department, and visual effects or special effects as well, because it's on location. We did lots of wet downs. We had lots of different dead leaves, fake leaves. We had a fantastic greensman, and like he would come up to our office with all these different dead leaves. And he'd say, Raf Cabot, what do you like? Do you like this type, that type, whatever? And we used to have like conversations about all that. So just throwing them on the ground, doing a wet down, and then we would add to the trees as well for the shots. So it really, really sold it.
yeah, that picture in the upper left
Yeah, this one.
is a wide shot of the real location, but the autumn leaf branch in the foreground is, on a stand or being held by
Mhm.
somebody.
Yeah.
So we
Selling.
we had a truck full of, leaf stuff traveling with us. And then the picture on the big picture on the right is our stage set.
Yeah.
Seamless.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about Greg's office and with set dressing and him moving into this office and developing his dressing throughout the episodes. How did you, Sue, and was this your set for
No,
Spring?
this was not my set.
Will you speak
Um,
to just how like the development of the characters were throughout the season in dressing?
well, I guess he had started it in this space, and the door that goes through to
Over here.
his office. Um, to be honest, this was not my set, but
I could probably speak to it though.
yeah, it would be great if you could
Yeah.
because
Um, so yes, there was a premise developed that Greg had an office directly next door to Walt, and there was a door connecting the two. And so there was this, comedic device where Walt would be barging in on Greg all the time, and there would be surprises and there would be some
Yeah.
conflict there. So when Greg first arrives here, it's pretty spare. I mean,
yeah.
the setup, the visual setup was that this was kind of the spillover space for all of Walt's stuff. I think we even had like his golf clubs and a bunch of
Right.
stuff in there in the beginning. And so Greg has to kind of make it his own over a couple of episodes. Um, and, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've flipped this office into other uses. We did the disciplinary board meetings in here as well.
Oh, well, how was
And
that turnaround? Up
some
next.
days it was pretty tricky, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schedule never helps.
Yeah.
Schedule never helps us.
I take my hat off to the set deck department and our lead men and the swing guys. We just find out that we need to flip it, and then you come in at 6 a.m. the next morning and it's already done.
Yeah,
Hmm.
They were
little
great. We
elves.
had, yes, exactly. Little elves,
We're
and
all
it was,
little elves.
yeah,
Yeah, David Lombard had a lot of experience in that, and the crew was great.
No. I
Yeah.
But
also,
the thing about these sets, what I was trying to go for anyway, um, on a technical level, is that sort of like the pit, where we weren't quite in that world where you just turn the lights on and you shoot. But the idea with these sets is that it's almost like a real piece of architecture. There's
Mhm.
ceilings across
oh,
everything, and
it's-
so no matter where the camera looks, there's nothing illegal that's going to take you out. Um, so you're really able to do walk and talks, um, through all these contiguous sets. I think this stage was almost 20,000 square feet, and it was literally fire lane to fire lane and all the way to the perms.
oh my God.
So we had two levels and coverage everywhere. So it was a pretty remarkable feat technically that way.
I also love your water stains on the ceilings.
mm.
Yeah.
That's that's
The it was really important that we had a great paint and plaster department.
yeah,
We got into it because, there's always thrown out early on. It's like, well, maybe we can just do a photograph and stick it up there because it's up high. But we were able to go with the construction coordinator. We'll make this happen. And everything you see, like all the finishes are real. It's all real plaster. All the stains, all that stuff. It's very much like we really had a great finishing layer, which really sells the believability. And our plaster team was fantastic.
yeah. The
Like it,
aging on the sets
yeah,
too. You have
it's
to.
just like everything the guys we had, Fernando, who was our plasterer, like he had done a lot of big movies and his crew, and it was like he come up to the office and he'd show Cabot samples, like different ones, and they were every one of them was like, I can't, which one do we pick? It's so great. Every one of them, we just had such an amazing crew to put this all together. It
And as
was,
you can see on those two left and photos on the left, the smaller ones,
Yeah.
um, because all the plaster work was so extraordinary, the way Raf was describing it, we didn't want to break walls. And
Right.
usually on a show like this, there isn't time. So what we would do is that window unit that you see on the top is on wheels, and the whole thing pivots out quickly so that camera can get in there. That's the one on the lower part.
And then they're getting
Mhm.
this shot of it
Yeah,
long. Yeah.
exactly. So we had a lot of strategic openings designed into these sets that took a lot of planning before we even cut a piece of wood. It
yeah.
was it was
Um, yeah. I
hand,
just
hand
want
and
to,
glove.
yeah, I just want to say that we had this 3D model, a SketchUp 3D model that we built, and as a design process, just the concepts that we could go in there and, stand in the hallway and say, well, if we make this an opening or make this a wild wall, and we could see all our shots.
Right.
Cabot had really developed the whole thing beforehand, so we knew exactly before one stick of wood was, put up or any flats, we had it all really worked out, really mapped out. It was so wonderful.
It helps
And
so much visually for everyone to be on the same page, so what everybody wants. Not everybody's as visual as we are in
no, it's
set
true.
tech and art department. I mean,
Most producers look at a ground plan, they don't know what they're looking at.
yeah,
It's kind of, it always amazes me. But and to take it a step further, that SketchUp model then went to our gaffer,
Hmm.
oh,
Christian,
nice.
who put it into Unreal Engine, and they pre-rendered all the lighting before we even shot a
Oh,
frame of
wow.
the show. It was pretty
Did that
remarkable.
cause you to go back and make adjustments design wise? Seeing
Yes.
it lit like that? Yeah.
Yeah, it changed how we created openings in the set for lighting. Like we had some wall wash um, soffits that
Hmm.
we sized differently because of the studies that Christian had done. We put up practicals in, for example, like the lecture hall in certain positions because of the way he had figured it out in his models. Um,
You have so many sets. You have so many sets. I can't. I don't even know if I put that in. I mean, there were so many sets. I couldn't. Wait, let's get to Walt's office
Yeah,
because I really like Walt's office.
yeah,
I
it's
love this
fantastic.
wallpaper.
We fabricated that. That
Did you?
Mhm.
if I mean, you probably it probably doesn't have
The
resolution. You
frogs
have to
and
just
turtles, something.
yeah.
Is
Yeah.
This
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah. So the mascot of the of Ludlow College is a Union Civil War soldier, and
Right.
and so if you zoom in on this, you'll see um, there's like a Union Army hat with two pistols
Up here.
crossed, and yeah, I think it had started out as a frog, but then we changed it
Okay.
to the Civil War thing because then that tied into the mascot that you saw later. So there's this wallpaper is actually an Easter egg for some comedy that's going to come in a couple episodes.
yeah.
Mm.
We
Yeah.
had our graphic designer Megan Brooks. She worked very closely with Cabot on this, and we really developed this. I think it was what was about 3 weeks or so of we were going doing this, Cabot, of just going back
Yeah,
and forth.
yeah.
And then,
Trying to get the scale right, the value right, the color right.
yeah, trying to
It's
get all that right with samples back and forth to the Warner Brothers sign shop. Let's try this one on stage. It was let's try this tone, but it was so worth it because, look, it was a real collaborative effort, and it's such a signature piece inside the room. It's so great.
And it almost looks like the chairs match. You know what I mean? Like they play with that so perfectly.
yeah.
His
Those came
his
later, and those were
reading
kind of
them.
a happy surprise.
Mm.
I don't. I think Christopher maybe brought those in, but we'd gone. We had auditioned a bunch of furnishings for this room, and it took a little while to get there, but this is where we landed, and I think it worked out great.
Yeah. No,
This was also the
beautiful room.
first start. This is the first thing we started building on stage was this office. So, we were really putting this all together as the design came together at the same time. So we could like walk down to stage and see how it's all looking and make tweaks to the windows and everything. It was great. It's such a signature piece of Cabot's set, this room as well. It's such a
Yeah,
it's one of
it's
the
like
things that people always say when I say I worked on the room. Oh yeah, Walt's office is amazing. Like, where did you
Yeah.
shoot that? What's the location? I was, it's not. It's on stage at Warner Brothers. They're like, what?
No, it's beautiful. What I really tune into too with the furnishings and everything is the wood tones and everything. I don't think there was a photo of it, but in Steve Carell's house, there's a dresser that he leans up against in the finale also. And it's like a worn like that just that New England or East Coast type of furniture that's very hard to find here. And to me I'm like, "Oh, it's so wonderful to be on those hunts for that type of furniture, which is hard to get here." Like, did you guys go like all his wood tones and everything that you guys have in his office, these leather chairs, and was there a lot of sourcing from like first dibs or like where are you guys going to get
And
this?
really, Warner Brothers,
Oh yeah.
thank God we have our resources with these prop houses.
Yeah.
Um, and antique stores in the area, Long Beach, and
Yeah.
um, there's, great stuff out there to be had. So we really were keeping in mind, the East Coast vibe that even all the artwork that was a big task for all these sets. If you notice, even in that lecture hall with Steve,
Yeah.
it's a modern room, but you have this East
Paper.
Coast, historical paintings that would be there in those gilded frames to show the modern with the past. We were, even in the, like, when we were thinking about in the diner,
Good diner.
and in the like on the East Coast, you get snowed in,
Yeah.
and sometimes you're in a business, you're in a restaurant. So that's where the games came in. We're like, oh yeah, when I was in Massachusetts, I saw all these games in this diner, like because people get stuck places.
Yeah.
So thinking about what it is, what time of year is it? what flowers would they have? What what plants are there this time? It's getting into that East Coast vibe, and it brings in those tones of that texture in that dresser and
Yeah.
in that wood and that the historical feel.
Yeah.
Um,
Nailed it.
it comes through. I'm glad you noticed that.
Oh yeah.
So
I love
funny, since we're here, funny story about this set.
the diner
The day, yeah, it's Arts Deli. This was
or deli.
inspired by a real uh, place in, I think it was where Bill went to college.
Looks like it
He went
has
to,
a good pastrami. I say that.
yeah, yeah,
I'd order pastrami if I was here.
yeah. I think Bill went to William and Mary,
Mhm.
and this was a real place in the town of
Oh
where
God, that's
William and
great.
Mary is. But the first day we opened the set, Steve Carell walks in. He looks around and he goes, "My God," he goes, "why can't you get a cup of coffee in LA in a place like this?"
I
Yeah.
know.
And he was he was so taken by it. And I don't know, I just started chatting with him, and it turns out he's from I grew up in Concord, Massachusetts. He grew up in the town next door. I think it was Acton.
Oh my God.
It turns out we went to the same middle school, different times, but
That's crazy.
and so he totally appreciated this set because he felt like it's a place where he would want to hang out. It really checked all the boxes of everything from his growing up experience in Massachusetts. And it had a real sense of authenticity, for him.
Oh
So
yeah.
we so
You
we,
got
we
the
felt really good walking away from that one that morning. It was, yeah.
you got the broken floor tiles. You
Yeah.
have the lamps hanging
Yeah.
from in every booth, and the neons and the awning. I mean, yeah. It's
And there's wood in the front. The booths are actually slatted wood.
Hmm.
It really felt authentic to the area,
yeah.
I don't know, not fishermen, but just that East Coast
Yeah.
vibe. It was fun. That was a fun
Northeast.
set.
Yeah, you guys brought so much detail to this one. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't put the reverse shot in this, but over the bar where Phil Dunster's sitting there is just this plethora of, you know, uh, dressing that kind of almost speaks to the lore of Boston and New England. And, there's all kinds of,
The Steins.
yeah, really great
Yeah.
information there. It's fantastic.
And I like that they use the set a lot. I mean, it's in a lot of the episodes too, which is nice
Hmm.
because it gives the viewer the sense of like, oh, this is like the college kind of hangout. Like that's the closest restaurant type thing.
Yeah, well, Bill wanted two watering holes for the show. One for the adults, which is the bar at
Yeah.
the inn. This is the one for the students.
I forgot what
Mhm.
that was.
Yeah,
That
this is
Yeah.
Yeah, the bar,
the Elm Bar.
which it's so cozy. Like you want to just
It
go
was
there.
really cozy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know these bar stools. I love these bar stools. They're
Yeah,
I
from.
don't know.
this was a backlot interior,
Mm.
but we really made it our own. We transformed it.
Yeah, we repainted it. We built the bar, and then all that fantastic set dressing is.
These sconces of like little men holding up the lights is so
So
fantastic
cool.
also. And you have such dark colors in this and look and a screenshot of a scene. It goes totally black in some places. I just love that.
They
I
lit
Mhm.
it really well.
love
Yeah.
seeing that.
That
Um,
was a direct result of our collaboration with Blake, the DP. He and I worked out these color schemes. And then
mhm,
I worked with Christopher very closely on, how do we counterpoint that with, love the red shades that he brought in, and,
mhm.
those monkey sconces are extraordinary. And
Or the
I don't
monkey.
know, it just has like it has every set of this has character, it's not just a bar. It's a,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's a bar that has a character to it.
It's
Well,
been lived in for
yes.
some time.
Yeah, they've all been lived in. That's your best like thing here. I mean, your best.
Well, that bar in particular, I was referencing Essex, Connecticut.
Hmm.
Um, there's an inn there, I think it's called the Essex Inn, that has a a tavern that goes back to like, the 1780s or something crazy. And it was on the Connecticut River, and it's a little inlet off of Long Island Sound where the boats would come in for repair. And so the inn there in the tavern was very much like this. And so that was kind of like our reference point.
That's beautiful. Even with your arched doorways and everything. There's such great architecture. What happened? What happened in the world? The houses that you have, I love the paneling. The paneling to me is so East Coast too. Like,
Well, this is right from my prep school days, where
yeah,
you'd have like a colonial era house, but
Katie's
you'd have
house.
like 70s paneling on the wall,
Yeah.
and yeah, you see a lot of that in Massachusetts where they make these renovations to wonderful places, and it creates its own aesthetic, and that's kind of what we were going for. That we had a lot of research on these kind of places too.
The on-campus housing, is that it? For like,
Hmm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, you this too is a build on his character because he moves into this house, which is really nice too. Because if, he's essentially moving into someone else's house, right?
Exactly. And this
Yeah.
ties directly to one of our locations at Occidental College.
Mm,
Um, when you go out this front door, you basically are walking into the Occidental campus.
mm,
And we created an entry gate for the university for Ludlow College there. And so the interior is driven by the aesthetic of the exterior, which is actually a wonderful piece of architecture. Doesn't look like you're in California at all.
Hmm.
beautiful front door, very East Coast front
Hmm.
door. What was your shooting? Were you shooting in blocks or were you
Yeah.
just shooting one at a time?
We shot 2 episodes at once, so we did 10 episodes. We did uh 5 blocks of two, so we cross-bordered it all.
So for like 16 shooting days ish,
I think actually it was less.
maybe
I want to
20.
say it might have been 14 days. I think maybe it was a few extra for the pilot in episode 2. I think we had a
Mm,
little bit longer. But then when we started rolling, I think we had 6 or 7 day cap it, was it?
Yeah. If you add in the work we did in Stockton, then maybe you might come out to 15 or 16 days. Because what happened was we had to wait until we had banked, I think, 6 or 7 episodes before we had enough story to go up to Stockton to shoot the exteriors.
years.
Mhm.
Um, and then and then we shot there for what, 3 days, was it?
I think it was
Oh, that's
Four?
it.
4 days.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of exterior shots.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
We did a lot. We crammed a lot in
Him
there.
on that bike and everything. There's a
Hmm.
lot.
Yeah, we did. We had 3 different directors up there. So we had Jonathan Kreisel, Zach Braff, and
Oz.
Oz Rodriguez.
Hmm.
Mm.
And we had 3 different units on the campus moving around with them. So we kind of scheduled their like shooting stuff for their episodes here and then moving here. So we had like a great greens department, painters, construction. We built in the second episode, I believe, where he climbs on the roof and takes the rooster off the roof. We built that as a set piece on the roof, one of the roofs at Stockton. And we had it all rigged with stunts guys and everything. So we had some substantial builds up there as well.
Is
Um,
is
This is
this
this is USC, what you're looking at here.
this is
yeah,
USC?
that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
the library.
I've been in there.
Um,
It's beautiful.
this is their
yeah,
philosophy library that's up on the second floor.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a
It's
beautiful space.
beautiful,
But
beautiful.
amazing.
it's still a lot to bring it to camera life. I mean, they're still dressing and like making it
Well,
making
all
it
those pharmacy lamps are us, and
yeah,
Yeah.
we
giving it that wonder.
Finding matching ones was
Never
tough.
easy. Never easy. And then you think like, that's easy. Yeah, bankers light. Yeah, green bankers lights. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's do it. And then you're like,
yeah.
what? We can't. Oh, okay. And then you try to buy them and and they get delayed and
Uh, We were lucky.
yeah. Um, you also have the presidential suite, which is now you can walk from his office. I think there's a walk and talk from
Hmm.
the main office to here once, I believe. Oh, and then you come in through here. Is this? I don't know where I am.
Yes, this is we called it the presidential suite. You know, Walt has his office on the right, and then Crystal is at her desk. She's kind of the guard at the door.
Right.
And this is kind of like a crossroads. It's like a nexus between um, you know, the public hallways of the school. You go through a set of doors, and then you're in sort of almost like an inner sanctum there. But the way it's laid out is you can see all the way to the end of the other end of the set.
Right.
And so there's, you know, um, learned over the years, it's always great to have, you know, what we call a hot spot at the end of a hallway. So your eye always has something to go to.
Mm.
And so, you know, all the vistas are really kind of strategically laid out for shots like this. But yes, you can go from this office, walk all the way down the hallway, take a left, go through a study area, and then into the student center, take another left, and come all the way back through. It's like a big running track.
Oh, that's right.
And I should add this because I forgot earlier, but the one thing that Bill really wanted to see in this show, and this is one of the few design um, must-haves that he gave to me, but he said, "This is a place that's always in motion.
Mm.
People are moving, the camera is moving. Um, you know, there's vertical motion, so that's why we had the staircases. There's horizontal motion with people crossing. So he said, people are moving in the foreground, they're moving in the middle ground, they're moving in the background, and he just wanted it to be a very dynamic environment. And so the set is really laid out to achieve, you know, this kind of um, looks because
Yeah.
every day we would have, I don't know how many extras, background extras on the set, but there was always a lot of people on set. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
It was, I think, yeah, we had lots of every day at least 50 background. And then with all those walk and talks in the corridors, you know, Blake had three cameras. We had A, B, and C cameras going. So you'd have a steady cam shot, you'd have a dolly shot, and you might have a jib shot or someone on sticks. So the design that Cabot came up with was so fantastic because it's all encompassing and with these long walk and talks, we could do a continuous take with a steady camera,
Right.
dolly, and it was all so, you know, so real and engaging in the story, you know.
Um, in the student union, going back to that, is that is that backdrop a photo backdrop? What is that? Is that or is that the volume? Is that lit up?
No,
It,
what's that?
it, yeah, go ahead, Raf. You can describe it.
It's a backdrop we designed, and we put together. I think there was a concept with this because early on we had in the storyline there was we knew this thing where Steve would fall down this hill, and you know, it was very early on, so we got this concept that we needed to have some kind of hilly structures outside the window. Subsequently, we ended up shooting at a different location at Occidental, but it kind of drove, I think, Cabot the narrative on the backdrop for a bit, and then
Hmm.
we you know, we wanted to really sell like this big like outdoor expanse, so
Right.
we did this backdrop. It was on this new material, this poly mesh material, and you know, we got several different samples, and I remember being with Blake and Christian and Tommy and Cabot and I, and we all got together and we lit the samples from JC Backings, West Coast, Pacific, and basically we landed on this poly mesh, this new material that one of the vendors was doing, and so we went with that. So I mean, it looks fantastic. The depth is great, the colors, the
Yes.
texture, like, and it's literally the lights, like it's right on the fire lane, and
Wow.
there's probably only a foot. I think with the lighting they use as well, and with this material and the image, it just sells like the depth, even though realistically outside there is not that, but it looks so great on camera.
Is this is
It's
this
it's a
building?
virtual image, by the way.
It
It's not
is.
a photograph.
You can
Megan
you
Brooks, our graphic designer, did it by hand
Yeah.
digitally.
is
Yeah, she
this
photoshopped it all together.
Yeah,
is this structure real or is this in the backdrop?
It's real.
that's real.
Yeah.
That's real. And then the
Yeah.
backdrop, and then it's trees,
Is
and then it's a
behind
backdrop.
that. That
Mhm.
was a good
Amazing.
kind of cutting piece for the side of the backdrop. We
Yeah.
had it on a track, and on the other side, it curved, and we had some greens in front of it. But we had a cutting piece there. I think originally we had ideas of like developing that area outside more, but then we ended up we needed a good cutting piece and the piece of architecture out there to kind of
Yeah.
just outside
Well,
the window to kind of give you a sense of realism as just instead of backing on green. So it's a great space out
it
there as
really,
well.
I mean, it sells that this room was made inside of this existing
Yes.
space. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's great. Um,
Yeah, I took that idea from the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, where they have
oh, right.
where the Temple of Dendur is. It's inside this steel and glass pavilion that's attached to a 19th century neo-Gothic building. So we got inspired by that.
Mixed. I also should say every set that we've talked about is basically all in episode four. I mean, what your set count for episode four must have been like 20, 24 sets, 20, at least 20 sets, right? I mean, it's crazy how many. You guys had a
Yeah.
lot of sets in every episode, but I'm only looking at photos from episode four. It's crazy. Um,
Mhm.
they go to a party. You guys nailed like college dorm parties.
Can almost smell it when you look at
Yeah.
Yeah, the sticky
Yeah.
floor and the beer and the weed and like yeah.
We shot this at the frat house that's connected with Occidental.
Oh, nice.
And
Oh, so
weirdly,
real vibes.
I had worked on a movie in I think 1998 in this building,
Oh my
and it
God.
was a frat house then for an indie feature I did, and it had layers of texture and smell and everything. It was a very believable. It was a great location. Our locations department were fantastic as well. They found some great locations with Cabot and I mean, everybody was always just so happy with it.
It's not just red cups. You got to nail it. You got to,
and
it's
kegerators
yes.
and the posters and
Yeah.
the twinkle lights.
The weird furniture and really beat
Yeah,
up and yeah, when he's sitting in that chair with the two beer bottles, it's really
Hmm.
Oh my
funny.
God.
that was a funny scene.
Yeah,
It was
that's
a great
really
team.
it is really great. And then you have an up party. Where's this at?
This is in the house
Mhm.
uh, that we
It's
showed you
back-
earlier as Walt's house. So
Team.
it's in Pasadena,
Yeah.
an extraordinary property,
Mm.
just a massive brick mansion. And in the original pilot script, it was scripted that this house was right on the edge of campus. So you could walk out Walt's door and you'd be right on in the quad,
Oh.
of the school. Um, so it was kind of tricky, shooting this and then in the story trying to make it feel like it was right on campus, but it worked out quite well, I
Oh
think.
yeah. When he's
Hmm.
walking over to the party, it feels like he's right there.
Hmm.
We have the sauna outside this
Yeah.
room.
Yeah,
Oh,
literally outside those doors is where the sauna is.
Yeah.
oh, oh, now I get it.
We used to bring the little one. We'd put the 6-footer on the truck and bring it and stick it outside the window,
Yeah.
just to sell it all.
Was there talk throughout the season specific color palettes for each character, or was it
Um,
just an overall for the
that's
show?
that's always a goal of ours, to assign kind of a color story to each character. So, no matter where you're watching where you jump into the show, you know who you're with. Um, but in this case, I think it was more of an overall tone, you know, overall palette of, um, you know, somewhat reserved. There's nothing really bright or punchy about any of this.
Yeah.
It's all kind of, you know, from this conservative world of, you know, education and, you
Yeah.
know, as you mentioned earlier, the woods were a big part of it.
Yeah.
Trying to get the tone and the value of the paneling just right so that it didn't suck the life out of a set, you know, like things, there's enough contrast between things.
Well, the paneling we're looking at in Walt's office, I mean, it's fantastically like stained and gives value and gives age. It's
Mm.
wonderful. Wonderful painting job.
We
Staining.
had
Yeah,
we had
they did a
the
great job.
yeah, we had I remember walking onto the stage and we had a bunch of I can't think it was the prop guys, but they were there with some of those pieces of that molding and they're literally beating them with chains
Hmm.
to get that.
Ah,
So it didn't look brand new. And then they gave them to the painters to stain. But it was just so funny seeing these guys with chains.
Yeah.
And our
Beat 'em
foreman
up.
Ed was like, "Yeah, yeah, I did this on whatever movie, and it's going to be great. We'll just hit them with the chains, and it's going to give that like little bit of, rupture the texture a bit, and it's going to rough it all up." And I was like, "Okay, great, love it."
There is nothing better than seeing someone happy doing their craft. Like
Hmm.
when painters, especially I feel like painters or construction or us, I mean when we get to like in decoration, when you really get to deep dive and like show your and really shine and show like a technique that you have learned over the years, it's always like so exciting when you see that type of thing on set. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Even
Our,
like
our
greens
lead
guys
painter,
bringing you leaves. Like,
our lead painter was a woman named Brooks who just took such care with everything and was so dedicated I mean, I still don't know how she pulled this off because, you know, they were always getting things late. And then, of course, set deck gets everything last. And it's like, um,
then I'm yelling at paint.
yeah, I know.
Get out.
we always get it done somehow.
I
Hmm.
know. I mean, the aging on the bar, breaking that
Mhm.
floor, the tile, it's all wonderfully aged. You
Yeah.
had a lot of graphics too. There's a lot of graphics in college. You guys did. You're
Yeah.
coming up with
We
your graphics and student
Tons.
union stuff and flags and it's a
we
big graphics job.
we had Megan Brooks was our main graphic designer, and then we had 80 Serrano came in as our second. And, being a first season show as well, we had to develop the
Yeah.
whole universe visually and the graphics were a big part of it and the color schemes and all that stuff. And they did an amazing job, it was so great.
Yeah. It's not easy and it's a lot of versions. It's a
Yeah.
lot of getting it done and everything.
Well, in
Um,
these days, as you know, clearances is
yeah.
such a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So we were getting the names cleared very, very late. And so a lot of the design development, you know, was preliminary until we had a real name. And then we really was able to push it through.
I
But
wanted to ask each of you did you have a favorite detail out of these sets or a favorite overall set, Cabot?
um, for me, I guess it would probably be the student center, you know, because that's what really expressed that's like the metaphor of the show for me.
Hmm.
Um, but there are some other spaces in the set that we didn't really talk about, like the lecture hall. You know,
Yeah.
we have a lecture hall in there that has three different looks to it. Two main looks, but you know, we have a lot of these sort of convertible tricks that we've employed to give things a different look and provide more uses.
Yeah.
And that was one of them, but probably the lecture hall for me. I mean, the student center for me.
Oh, it's beautiful. Sue, I'm going to go to you next.
Um, I would say the bar in the bed and breakfast, because it was just so much fun to gather those elements and tell a story and have it be sit in it and really feel like, we got this. And to have, I mean, I've been hearing over and over because people just love the show. Um, are you, there's no way that was shot in the East Coast. Like everybody really, we
Mhm.
sold them on it,
Oh yeah.
and that feels really good. But
Yeah.
I would say the bar, with the monkey lights and that rich green wall color and just bringing that warmth in there. And that was, I think, my favorite.
That's beautiful. Raf, what do you?
Um, for me, I think the putting together all the hallways with the plasterwork and all the neo-Gothic arches and stuff, like that was, I remember seeing that in the model like the first day with Cabot, and I was like, in my head, I was like, wow, this is gonna be how we gotta get this done. And then just to be in the mill with like, with the construction coordinator, the foreman, general foreman, and the plasterer and the painter, and like, okay, how are we going to make this happen? And like we're thinking of all the ways, and we had the designs, we had the plans, and our Ed, our foreman, was like, if we got a pool noodle, and we do this, and then and I was like, okay, do a sample. I'll bring Cabot down in 20 minutes and see. And Cabot go, this is fantastic. What is it? And I was, it's a pool noodle. Okay, great. And then we had like all our plasterers and our model builders. We had guys fiberglassing stuff, making all those arches and then plastering it. And just, we were in there on Sundays, working. And these guys were so great and they were so into it because
Yeah.
it's not something like the level of production design that we brought to this project is like movie level, and like
Yeah,
we had all these artisans in there and they were all so happy, like doing all this plaster work and, making all these arches and figuring it all out. And they just loved it because they knew that this product, like every time someone stepped in there, I remember the first time when Steve Carell walked into that hallway, like he just looked up and went, "Oh my God, like this is fantastic." And then Phil Dunster and Carly and everyone, they're all just blown away. And, it was a real testament to everybody who worked in, art, set deck, props, construction, painting, everybody. But it was just, yeah, just to touch those walls as well and feeling that real plaster. And it just sold it so well. And on camera, you
Yeah,
just
it's
really feel like
gorgeous.
you're in an old building on the East Coast.
That's
Mhm.
gorgeous.
To that point, I just want to, give a shout out to shooting in LA because
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you talk to some producers, they'll say, when you're shooting in Atlanta, you'll have a grip who has probably been doing it for 6 months or a year. But when you shoot in LA, you're working with a grip who's done it for 20 years and
Yeah,
And his
he learned
father
from a
did it,
guy.
and his grandfather did it.
Exactly. And so you have all that institutional knowledge, and that's what we really benefited from on this show is having these incredible artisans who, this is their whole career. They love what they do, and they learn from people who loved what they do. And it goes back 3, 4 generations now.
Yeah,
absolutely. But
yeah,
I,
Yeah.
I want to say something about Cabot because he really is a true artist. I've worked with him, on many things, and what he brings to his creations and to all of us is inspiring.
mm,
And, it just makes you excited about, finding the perfect thing and set deck or, the environments. It gives everybody an energy that, is exciting. It's not, your mainstream, like, oh, we've got, this sitcom, four walls, let's get a bed, let's whatever. So he really is, it starts at the top, and we all really appreciate that. And to say that shooting in LA is that's very true. And we've got the prop houses
yeah.
all here that have
Resources. Yeah,
Gone with the Wind drapes and Casablanca, archives. And I think that is a big point that you have so much history here and experience and artists. And I think that brings it all together.
Well, there's nothing wrong to vote for shows that were made in LA. Let's put it that
Yes. I,
way.
I totally agree with what
Yeah.
Sue said. I mean, Cabot is just such an amazing designer. It just everything, and his vision is so well communicated and executed, and like with models, with 3D models and hand drafting and everything and sketches, and just with every department, he is such a great shorthand
Mm.
with everyone, with construction guys, with props, with set deck, talking to showrunners. It's such a pleasure to work for him.
I appreciate that, you guys, but just know I couldn't do any of this without you. So,
Oh, I thought you were going to say, but you're not
Well,
coming back
that's
for
true.
season 2. Thanks for all the hard work. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you have a fantastic team, and it always comes from the top, but it's so many spokes in the wheel. I mean, it takes everyone to make something of this capacity to look so fantastic. So I applaud your whole crew, and especially Cabot for the designs and everything. It's fantastic.
But
And
it took me more than a few years to find all these people and to put them together and you know put the right chemistry together to create shows like this. I mean, it does take some time. It's not like you can just I've had to fly into other locations and put a crew together, and you hope it works. But
yeah,
here I've had the opportunity to really kind of you know build teams who are not only talented but um, talented together. It's just it's almost like a recipe.
yeah,
Putting the perfect cake together.
yeah. Well, voting is still open and a couple more days, so I hope you consider Rooster and this fine show. And you can look at all of these great photos online or just watch the show. Just watch it and enjoy it because it's fantastic. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you upping the time for this so I can get to work. Thank you.